Good morning. Sierra has officially left the villa. Everyone is scrambling for a chance to secure a spot with Amaya. And Team Nicolandria says, hey, a win is a win. We'll take it. Let's talk about it.
Roxiie says we're gonna talk about it.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Roxiie with Roxiie Says, and we're going to talk about it. Today, we are reviewing Love Island USA Season 7, Episode 30. Child, I cannot believe that we're already at Episode 30. That is crazy, and some important things happened in this episode, so let's get right to it. But before we do, please don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so that you are made aware every time I post a new video. We have been rocking for 30 episodes, well, not exactly 30 episodes because of After Sun, but we've been rocking for some time. Thank you all so much for always showing up for me. I really appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right into this episode. Okay, so we got the faces, the X's on the faces of the people who ain't here. I forgot to put an X on Andreina's face. It's on there now, okay? And you see we got an X on someone else's face. We gonna get to that in a little bit, all right? So the episode opens up with Chris and Huda discussing the challenge, and Huda is telling him that she's surprised that none of the other guys chose her for a kiss. And Chris is like, why? Like, why? And she says, well, because we're still open. And that why definitely had a tone of, so like you wanted other people to kiss you. Like, why? Why do you even care? Why is that even a discussion, right? Because why are you with Chris, but you worried about being picked by other guys for a kiss? And I'm sure that Chris peeped this as well. But I do think that that was Huda's kind of roundabout way of bringing up being closed off. Because she's like, well, we're still open. You know what I'm saying? So Chris says that he feels like they're actually getting to a deeper point within their connection since they've been having these deeper conversations about their personal life. And Huda says that she feels really comfortable talking to Chris, and Chris says that he will never ever judge her. So they do agree that being best friends is one of the most important parts of a relationship. And when Chris asks Huda to tell him a joke, she can't think of one, and he says a bunch of funny jokes, and he's like, come on girl, you got to get your funny up, gang. And she says, okay brother. And I said, okay. So then she tells us that she's really enjoying getting to know Chris, and he's a real man, so she wants to do things differently this time. She's learned from the way that she's done things in the past. And I said, great, I love that for the both of you. Okay, so next we see Amaya. She's in the makeup room telling Nicolandria and Shelley that her and Brian were in the speakeasy. Okay, she says, look, we didn't make any babies, but we definitely kissed. Amaya is so giddy about this kiss and this new connection with Brian. She is telling everybody. All right, so now it's a new day, and we see Amaya telling Iris that Brian checks all of her boxes and they were kissing in the speakeasy. Like I said, Amaya is telling everybody about this kiss with Brian. All right, so we see the guys, they're bringing breakfast up to the ladies, and child, Taylor is setting up for this little breakfast date with Clark. Okay, really cute, really cute. And he requested Ace's help. He requested Ace's help. Ace didn't have to tell him to do it. Ace didn't have to plan it for him. As far as we can see, I can only go by what's on the show. Okay, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but as far as we can see, this was Taylor's planning. Okay, he's showing that he's taking initiative because he actually likes Clark, and she hasn't had to ask him to do none of this. She hasn't had to ask him to do a damn thing. Men know what to do, ladies. They know what to do. They just do it for who they want to do it for, okay? Because Taylor would have you thinking that he was a damn dummy, not knowing how to treat a lady when it was Nicolandria. But we see that he knows better, and he knew better the entire time, all right? So Amaya goes upstairs to stall Clark while Taylor finishes preparing, and she asks Clark what her favorite color is. Now listen, if you've been here for some time, you already know that Clark is my girl. She gets mad love over here on this channel. I love me some Clark. Okay, I'm team nobody, but I love me some Clark. But baby, when she said that her favorite color was black, the same color is mine, the same color that y'all see me wear every single day in these videos, I was like, Clark, I knew I loved you, girl. I knew I did. Okay, we see each other, boo. We see each other. I was like, yes, Clark. All right, so she tells Amaya that her idea for the perfect date is a cute little picnic. And I was like, that's really dope, because that's pretty much what Taylor is downstairs setting up right now in the little beach area, a little breakfast picnic. All right, so child, we see Ace come, and he grabs her from the makeup room, and he escorts her downstairs to Taylor laying on the picnic blanket, and he has a rose in his mouth. And she is just so tickled and giddy when she sees it. She's all giggling, and she thanks Taylor, and she gives him a kiss while Ace runs around and he gets the water and stuff like that. And Clark tells Taylor that he should always tip. Okay, he should always tip his waiter even if the service is bad. And I said, yes, Clark. Now the amount of your tip will be dependent on the level of service that you have provided, but messing around with me, you're gonna get a tip either way. All right, so Taylor tells her that he really tried to do his big one with this, and Clark thanks him for doing it and giving her the reassurance of their connection. So anyway, they discuss plans happens after leaving here. And Taylor says that he just wants to go back home to his family. He wants to ride his horses at the rodeo. And Taylor asks Clark if she's ready for the country life. And Clark says, well, you know, I'm already a country girl. I'm just not like a country cowgirl, okay? But I'm gonna have to find out because I will never stop being a girly girl. And I said, period. But it definitely sounded like Taylor is under the assumption that Clark is gonna like drop her life and just join him and his horses. We didn't hear them discuss how he could be integrated into her life or them meeting on some type of middle ground. It was just like, oh, you gonna come live with me and my horses? That's what it was giving. And does it have to be a couple who wins at the end? Can it just be an individual? How does that work? Let me know. Let me know, okay? Does it have to be Clark and Taylor? I know it's not gonna be Clark and Taylor, y'all. I'm not that delusional, but I wish it could just be Clark. But overall, this was a really cute scene. I am happy that Clark got some more screen time so that y'all could get to know her more. Since y'all were claiming that that was the reason why she was voted at the bottom because y'all didn't really know her. Y'all barely knew those other girls either. Y'all ain't know Grayson, and y'all don't know these other girls, okay? Not enough to vote her on the bottom. Y'all better have made it right last night. I know they not gonna win, but she better have moved up in the rankings, okay? Gosh, because what? Clark ain't do nothing to nobody, okay? And let me say this too, because we gonna get into Nicolandria in a little bit. Nick, why didn't you leave with your boo? Why didn't you leave with your boo who you were closed off with, who you've been giving the best 17 seconds of your life to night after night? Why are you even here? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself because we still on the date with Taylor and Clark. I'm getting ahead of myself. So next, we see Iris and Pepe. They're in Soul Ties, and she tells Pepe that her dad is pretty easygoing. He's not super strict like most dads, and Pepe is telling us that he's still looking to grow their connection. They both love the same music that their dads used to listen to. Pepe plays the guitar, the drums, the piano, and I said, ooh, Iris, watch out. He's a musician, girl. Watch out. But Iris tells Pepe that he's so interesting and they seem to get along well. I love this for y'all, but it's too late, baby. It's too late for y'all. So next we see Amaya. She's chatting on the dock with Brian, and they're joking about New York City rats because Amaya saw a bug and she was like afraid of the bug. And Brian is like, don't y'all have rats? Now let me tell you, as a New Yorker, Brooklyn girl, born and raised, I will tell you, New York City rats are gangsta, okay? If they are in the middle of the street, do not expect them to move. They will look at you like, bitch, you need to walk around. That's how they do. But the thing about a New York City rat is that they're not gonna bother you for no reason. Not like a bug. A bug is gonna bother you while you're trying to mind your business. So I 100% understand why Amaya would be more afraid of a bug than a rat, okay? Not y'all got me out here defending New York City rats, child. All right, so Amaya tells Brian that she is very proud to be the first nurse in her family. So congratulations to her for that. She also tells Brian again that she feels really safe around him, and she goes in for a kiss. And I said, I want to see if Brian is going to continue to initiate kisses the same way that he did before they were coupled up. You better keep that same energy, Brian, okay? So anyway, he says that Amaya's aura can light up a room, and so can her smile. And I love that for them. And I know that some of y'all don't like Brian, right? Y'all think that Brian is being fake. And I'm like, okay, I get that. Honestly, I think everyone on the show is here for, you know, ulterior motives. I feel, okay, I understand that this is a show. We love the show. But at the end of the day, I feel like anyone who's applying to be on any type of reality show, like your fame is the number one thing that you're looking for. I don't care who you are, even our faves. The number one thing that you're looking for is for fame. Okay, you're looking to grow your social media following. You're looking to grow whatever. And after that, if you find love, if you find something else, then that's just the cherry on top. But anyone in this day and age who is trying to get on a reality show is trying to grow their social media. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that is the understanding that I have no matter what reality show I'm watching. That's just what I think about everyone, okay? So a lot of y'all feel like Brian is being fake and he's being opportunistic. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but she got to pick someone. She has to pick someone, right? So out of Brian and Zach, Brian is the lesser of two evils because at least he stood up for her prior to knowing how America felt about her. But at the end of the day, all of these people are playing a game. You got to pick one. You got to pick somebody, all right? So, child, next we hear Ian telling us that Sierra has left the villa due to a personal situation. Like I said in the last review, I was not expecting to see her in this episode at all, so that didn't come as a surprise to me. But the way that they said it was due to a personal situation, I was like, interesting. I mean, they didn't really elaborate much when Yulissa was plucked off of the island either, child. They didn't even give her a due to a personal situation part. They just says, look, Yulissa has left the villa. That's how they did it. So anyways, Nick Nick is officially single, and I think that production needed some extra time to figure out the storyline since it was so deep into the season, but they ultimately gave her the same treatment that they gave to Yolisa, which I am definitely happy with. You got to keep it fair across the board, but I would like to know what the exit process is for these contestants, whether they were plucked from the island or not. This show makes hella money. This show makes so much money. Y'all better have some professionals hired to help these people as they re-enter into their normal lives. Y'all have to do that because for some of them, it's gonna be a shitstorm. It's gonna be a shit storm, and y'all make enough money to have that handled, all right? So anyway, y'all know Nick wasn't leaving because he didn't even want to close off with Sierra in the first place. I think that he was just trying to hide his joy, honestly, because of course Nick doesn't want to be celebrating at a time like this. But I think that secretly Nick was very happy about how this turned out because now he doesn't have to be the bad guy and he doesn't have to break up with Sierra. It was pretty much done for him, okay? But he does tell us that before Sierra left, he was crystal clear on what he wanted, and now he's lost because that was his strongest connection, and now it's gone. So he has to figure everything out because he doesn't know who he's gonna explore with. And I was like, Nicolandria, this is y'all moment. This is y'all time to shine. Y'all have fought tooth and nail for this union, okay? And in a roundabout way, y'all got y'all wish, so y'all are back in the running, and I know that y'all was running them votes up last night. I know y'all were, okay? So anyway, next we see Zach. He pulls Amaya for a chat, and he tells her that he felt something. Ooh, he said he felt something between them in their last conversation. Yeah, you felt that 100K slipping away. That's what you felt, okay? But he does claim that he actually realized that he cares about her and he wants to be more open in the way that he feels towards her. Zach, if you don't shut up, Zach is a mess and a half, okay? But he says that he knows that they understand each other more than anyone else in this villa. I'm actually insulted. I am quite insulted that Zach thinks that this is working. I'm offended. I'm honestly offended because he's laying it on so thick. America don't believe you, Zachary. We don't believe you, baby. So anyway, he asks Amaya where her head is at, and she says that she's still open to the connection and they can start off on a new page. And Zach says, yes, I think a clean slate sounds great, America. I mean, Amaya, it sounds really, really good. I would like that, okay? So Amaya pacifies him in this conversation, and she pretty much says that she's still open to exploring with him, but she's just gonna pay more attention to his actions. And I do wish that she shut him down. I wish that she wasn't so nice and she shut him down as comfortably as he was able to shut her down and say that he didn't want to kiss her the other day. Keep that same energy with Zachary, okay? And when they get up to finish their conversation, he touched her face and I said, you better not try to kiss her. You better not try to kiss her. And thankfully he doesn't, because I would have been so irritated, all right? So next we're with Shelley and Ace, and Ace is in a great mood. Ace is in an amazing mood. And I said, why? Is it because Sierra and Nick are no longer a threat? Because Ace was real happy this morning, all right? But you may have some bigger problems to deal with, Ace, now that Nicolandria is back in town. Okay, because they are not playing. So Shelley tells Ace that her childhood was a roller coaster and her family had to move constantly. They lived in a shelter for a period of time, but thankfully her and her siblings were able to lean on each other, and she's really thankful that her entire family is in a better position now. So Ace tells her that he went to high school in a really nice neighborhood, but he would always go home to not so nice neighborhoods, and that has made him appreciate life even more, even though he's been through a lot of things very early in life. Now remember, this is the conversation that I was talking about when he was with Coco, and I said this is the most vulnerable that we have ever seen Ace be, way more vulnerable than we had ever seen him be with Shelley at that point. So the fact that he's finally revealing this part of himself to Shelley, maybe they've had conversations, we didn't see it. I can only go by what I can see on the screen, okay? So maybe he's had conversations with Shelley in the past, but from what we've seen, this is the first time that he's opened up to Shelley like this, or the first time that they've had a deep conversation about their childhood like this. And this is episodes and episodes and episodes after Casa Amor. I told y'all that Ace was more in tune with Coco and he just picked Shelley for the game. Not saying that he doesn't like Shelley, but Ace had a stronger connection with Coco. He should have picked Coco. Okay, so anyway, Shelley appreciates this conversation and she says that it makes her feel really good to know that they have trust in each other and that they can have these deep conversations. So next we see Nicolandria. They're discussing the impact of Sierra's departure, and Alandria says that she's absolutely shocked because because Nick and Sierra were the only closed off couple and they were the strongest couple in her opinion. Child, why someone on Instagram said, well, Sierra should be thankful that she got to experience two strong connections. Yo, y'all are hell, all right? So anyway, Nick looks sad, but not in a sad like, damn, I really like Sierra and now she's gone type of sad. It was more of a sad like, damn, Sierra's gone. Now what does this mean for me? Can I still win this thing type of sad, you know? So Alandria tells Nick that she's here for him in whichever way he needs her to be. And Nick tells Alandria that he's so attracted to her and he knows that she would always have his back. And she brings out the manlier side of him and he brings out the funnier side of her. Alandria, you better not have Nick's back no matter what. I know that's what he says, but you better not have his back no matter what. You did that ride or die shit before with Taylor and look at where it got you, okay? Have your fun with Nick. Make it to the next rounds or do whatever you need to do, but take a page from Taylor's book and always put yourself and your feelings first, okay? Take a page from Taylor's book. And honestly, that goes for all of y'all in the villa because it's a game, okay? So then we pan back over to Ace and Shelley, and Ace says that he thinks that Nicolandria might circle the block, and he tells Shelley not to count those two out. I said, yeah, Ace knows what's up. Ace knows what's up. So anyway, Alandria tells Nick that she's still open to exploring with Zach as well. And since she was saved, she's going to make the most out of her time here. So when Nick asks her how she feels about Taylor and Clark, Alandria says, oh, I've never had a problem with Taylor finding a new connection. I was mad at the way that Taylor went about his connection, okay? But she does say that she loves how Clark and Taylor are together. She has seen the progress that they've made as a couple. So all she can do at this point is support it. And I said, yes, Alandria, I love that, okay? But child, when Nick's messy ass asks her how she felt about Clark and Taylor being voted last place, Alandria said, well, I felt great. She said, I felt great. And the way that Alandria and Nick started cracking up, I did too, because it was funny. Alandria said, oh, you thought I was about to give you a PR answer? Hell no, I'm gonna keep it real every time. That scene was so funny. It really was, all right? And look, I just feel the way that these two keep ending up together every single time, it's not a situation where they get to choose each other per se. It's always like by default, but I know that y'all don't care. I know that Team Nicolandria don't care because they said, hey, a win is a win, all right? So child, now we see Amaya. She's having a chat with Elon. She just got y'all in rotation at this point, okay? Y'all just scrambling. So they talk about food. Amaya says that she wants to be doing handstands even when she turns 80 years old and she's a grandma. Elon tells us that he thinks that Amaya is a great girl and she wears her heart on her sleeve. And I'm like, at this point, y'all just all saying the same shit about Amaya. Y'all just repeating the same line. But did y'all hear Amaya when she says that she wants to go die skiving? Amaya says she want to go die Scott. Okay, I'm done. So next we see Zach chatting with Alandria and he's trying to be a gentleman and he's asking her, oh, do you want some snacks? Do you want something to drink? Bye, Zach. Bye. So he also asks her what type of man she's looking for. And he reminds her that he's the type of man who takes care of his entire family. Okay, because remember, they bonded on both being raised by single mothers. So he's like, remember, he's trying to remind her. So Alandria says that she likes a provider man and she makes sure to say that it's not only for financial reasons because she needs no help when it comes to money, but she wants someone who's also able to provide emotional support that is very important to her. So Zach says, well, I can provide that, America, and I'm a handyman. I can fix a house, all right? Side note, one of Zach's posts came up on my timeline yesterday, and whoever is running his IG definitely has a sense of humor because the caption of the picture, it's pretty much trolling Zach, telling him that he ruined his chances of winning the entire game because of how he did things with Amaya. So at least they already know that Zach ain't winning shit, okay? So Zach says that he wants a woman who gets him and loves him the same way that he gives it out. And if he finds the right woman, he's gonna give her everything and blah, 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 blah. And child, now Alandria is in her confessional talking about Zach is kind of cute, ain't he? First of all, girl, if you do think he's cute, you could have told him that. Even I don't see it for Zach, but Alandria never gives a compliment to these guys. We saw her do it with Nick when they were in Soul Ties, when they had their first little rendezvous, okay? I don't remember if she really she can't return a compliment from Taylor because he never complimented her in the first place. And then we also see her with Zach. She can compliment him in the confessional, but not like to his face, okay? And I just find that funny because in my opinion, even though I don't see it for Zach, his face card ain't never declined. Ever, ever, ever. And at this point, I was like, I just want to see if she's going to allow him to kiss her outside of challenges because remember, she said that that would never happen before. But child, we going to see that that's not even going to be a necessary thought, okay? So Zach tells Alandria that he F's with her heavy. real heavy. This is the same thing that he told Amaya like 2 days ago, okay? But he also says that he wants to see where this can go. And Nicolandria says that she's definitely open to it. And Zach says, well, sometimes I look at you and I'm like, damn, I really want to kiss this girl. But they both agree that they want it to be natural. Zach has learned from the last time that he tried to kiss her, and they share a hug instead, all right? So child, next we see Huda. She gets a text message telling the Islanders that there will be a recoupling tonight. The girls will choose and the boys not picked will be left single and vulnerable. So of course, everyone is nervous. And Amaya is telling Huda that her dilemma is that Brian was the only one who stood up for her. Elon is really sweet and he's a gentleman, and she's physically attracted to Zach. So she don't know what to do, okay? So we see all three of those guys. They have their little last minute conversations with Amaya, all pretty much saying the same thing. Pick me, choose me, love me, okay? So we see everyone, they get ready, and when they come back downstairs, Shelley makes a toast for the night, and we see Nick pull Nicolandria for a chat on the dock, child. Nick is dusting the bench off before she sits down. He's just doing everything, all right? So Nicolandria tells Nick that she's nervous, and he tells her that he really wants them to continue having each other's backs. He keeps talking about this having each other's backs. All it's giving is having each other's backs to make it to the next round. I'm not getting that romantic conversation like we got before, right, when they were in Soul Ties that first time. This sounds more of like a strategic conversation, okay? But they agree that their journey has been crazy in the sense that they keep finding their way back to each other, which is high-key true. It really is. But Nicolandria also thinks that her and Nick's journeys have been the same throughout this experience. And I'm like, well, that is high-key untrue. Y'all have had very different experiences here, but okay. So she says that their heads are less blurred by their connections before, and this time around, she would like for them to explore with clear minds. And Nick says that Nicolandria has a nice little ring to it. And I'm like, y'all not gonna change the name from Nicolandria to Nicolandria, right? Because Nicolandria is better. Nicolandria is better, all right? So he also tells Nicolandria that he supports whatever decision she decides to make. And it's funny because remember in the last episode, Nick was saying that it was so weird to see Iris and TJ sitting out on the dock having a conversation a couple hours after TJ left. And now look at you, Nick, doing the same thing, all right? So child, Ariana is here and it is time for the recoupling. So let's just run through it. So Shelley picks Ace because she sees that despite their roller coasters, they have shown each other that they're each other's number one, and they continue to grow, and they both look very happy with the decision. Clark picks Taylor because from the very beginning, she says that he has been extra considerate in making sure that she's comfortable, and she wants to continue learning about him, and she wants to continue growing their connection. Huda picks Chris because she says that he understands her and he doesn't judge her, and she can see herself being with him on the outside world. And I said, okay, Huda, so is he gonna move in with you? Because we know he don't got... Okay, moving on. So Iris picks Pepe. She says that she's excited to see how their journey blossoms and she can be herself with him, whatever. So now it is time for Nicolandria to do her pick. And she says, look, I'm coupling up with this person because he has always expressed to me how much he's valued me and valued our bond. And I loved him from the moment I met him. And I'm really excited to spend the rest of my days with him. And of course, she picks Nick. And I think, I could be mistaken, but I think at that very moment, I felt the ground shaking from the nation of Nicolandria rising up from the ashes. I felt the ground shaking. I did, because I know that y'all were cutting up and acting a fool last night when she picked. I know y'all were, okay? And when you think about it, like I said, it's almost like fate that keeps bringing these two together. Either it's fate or it's production. Let me know which one you think it is, okay? So last but not least is Amaya Papaya, and she says that it's been a pleasure getting to know Brian, Zach, and Elon, but she has to go with her gut. And Amaya says, listen, I am picking the boy who recognized me for the queen that I am, okay? And the one who allows me to illuminate without dimming my light, hallelujah. And this man is the water to my fire. I said, come on, Amaya, you better preach, girl. You better preach, okay? And even if you think that they're all full of shit, at the end of the day, she gotta pick somebody. So we just having fun. Don't get up in the comments messing up the moment like, oh, Brian is... She gotta pick someone. Who she gonna pick? Okay, do you want her to go home? She gotta pick someone. Anywho, Amaya picks Brian, and he feels absolutely amazing, of course. And he says that he wants to provide a safe space for her to be herself, and she provides that for him too. So cute, so cute. Shh, don't say nothing. It's cute. Okay, don't say nothing about it. So it's time for Zach and Elon to take their asses on home, and they both say their kind and their gracious goodbyes. Of course, Chris is very sad to see his Casa boys go home, and he helps them pack. And while the boys are doing that, the ladies are downstairs getting the tea from Nicolandria about her and Nick, and she says that they both got dumped from Casa, and now they're back together, so she's ready to go really hard and give this a shot. And she's wondering if it was supposed to be them all along, and everyone else loves the idea of that as well. Child, they just forgot all about Sierra. They forgot all about Sierra. We see Shelley and Iris. They love how a lot of these connections are starting off as friends first, because Iris and Pepe also started off as friends first. Clark tells the ladies how happy she is just to be there with them, and we see them all share a group hug. So Elon and Zach are out of here. We see Nick and Nicolandria. They go and they sit out on the dock once again, and Nick thanks her for picking him and for the reassurance and validation of the recoupling speech that she gave. And he also tells her that he still gets nervous when speaking to her. He kisses her hand, and Nicolandria says that since they've already built that friendship foundation, they really don't have to start over from scratch, and they've already gotten the hard part over with. And she's also wondering once again if it was supposed to be them all along. They both reiterate that they've never pursued each other out of respect for Sierra and Taylor, but they're ready to redo it the right way this time. And Nicolandria tells us how excited she is and that she's really going to give this a shot. But we don't see Nick's confessional about how he feels about this. And even in the scene, he doesn't say much in response to her. He's just smiling, okay? And the funny thing is, y'all already said that there was absolutely no connection. There was no spark, right? Both Nicolandria and Nick, y'all was going up and down. There's no connection. There's no spark. So were y'all lying then, or are y'all just really putting on now? Which one is it? Because it can't be both. It cannot be both. Nicolandria, let me know how y'all are feeling out there. Is it giving forced? Is it giving produced? Do y'all not give a damn because that's your couple either way? You don't care, you don't care, you don't care. Let me know your thoughts. We got the new X's on the faces of all the people who are here, okay? And that's pretty much the episode. Tell me all of your thoughts about this episode. What are your predictions? Let me know who you voted for, okay? I enjoyed this episode. It was really good. We're getting closer to the finish line, baby. Let me know your predictions. Before you leave, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so that you're made aware every time I upload. We are so close to 45K. Thank you all so much. And I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!
Roxiie says we're gonna